So, what are your family playground rules? If you don't have any rules, that's not an issue. That's not a problem. This is a great opportunity for you to go back and say, hey, you know what? I went to a talk and I learned some information, and I'm just wondering, how does this impact you? What are the benefits of this technology? I'm thinking we might want to talk about how much we use cell phones at the dinner table. I'm wondering what concerns you have with technology. Open the door and have them weigh in on what the rules should be. My kids have lots of opinions about what those rules should be, by the way. Some things to just consider. And just remember, what's right for your family and your family technology playground rules might not be right for another family and their family rules. So consider devices for checkout versus personal devices, depending on how old your child is. So you don't have to buy your child a cell phone. You can check out the family cell phone to them and say, hey, this is a device. When you're finished using it, it's going to come back here. Also, remind them that the device is yours because you bought it and you have the right to look at that device anytime. You have the right to look at the messages, at the apps, that regularly audit it. When they know that there's accountability, then they're more likely to follow those rules. Consider family use spaces, not bedrooms or bathrooms, including public restrooms. So, true story, I was in a public restroom in Atlanta, CNN Center. I come out of the stall, and there's someone in the middle of the restroom, and they're like, let's take a group picture. I'm coming out of the bathroom stall. I'm like, who didn't have that conversation? Like, don't use your phone in a public restroom. That's not really where I wanted to be photographed, photobombing. So just they don't know that unless we tell them that. There's nothing worse. I bet I'm not the only one that's had the situation where you're also in a public restroom and there's someone on their phone next to you, and it's like, I'm going to flush now. It's kind of awkward. But this also applies in our house. So any place where our children take off their clothes, remove clothing items, a phone or device is not allowed. You are the best internet monitor. So a lot of people will come and ask me and say, hey, I've got this router, like, should I buy Disney Plus? Should I buy this? And you can buy whatever you want to buy, but the best monitor is going to be you, in your involvement in the conversations that you have and you taking time to look at their device, and just being involved. So you're going to be the best monitor. Stay consistent with rules and expectations for technology, including guests. So just remember that when your children have guests coming over, you have the rights in your own house to say these are our technology rules and tell the guests that as well. So it's your house and your rules. So talk to your children about that. Say, hey, when we do have friends come over, these are our rules. What do you think we should consider? How should we present this to them? Should we have a basket at the front door? And again, these are age-appropriate conversations, right? So as your children get older, then you're going to change what you do, depending on what's going on, what activity, and how old your children are. But those are just some examples of some possible rules you could have. There are some family cell phone agreements that you can find online. So this one's by Josh Ship. But if you just go in, go into the computer, hit Google, type cell phone agreement or family use agreement, you can find lots of examples. If you do not have restrictions or individual accounts on your computers, I would consider that. So if you don't know how to get restrictions on your firewall, go look and see, or on your router, go look and see, do you have a Cisco router? Pick up the phone and call Cisco. Look at who your internet provider is, and they can give you resources on that. Also, we talked about iOS and like restrictions, but Verizon has family-based, AT&T has smart control, and the Android app that I was referring to is Family Link. So that's what we use with our son, and it works really well. So parent resources. Here are some of the ones that I talked about earlier. All of these are great. And so there's lots of resources online for you. Remember, you're not alone. There are other people that are also sharing their resources. The biggest eye-opener that I had was a couple of years ago when Hayes Edmonds and Amanda Jones did TED Talks, TEDx Youth at MBJH Talks. Hayes was what I learned when I gave up my cell phone, and Amanda's was how technology is blurring the lines between our work and home lives. What I realized that year when they gave their talks is kids know how much technology that they're using. They know the impact that it's having on their lives. These are two students that sort of opened my eyes to kids want to talk about it, and they want to tell you about it, and they want to be a part of the conversation. And so it made me sort of step back and reevaluate how I was having the conversation in my own family. But I think you'll be surprised. I was a lot scareder to have that conversation with my own kids. But once I heard them, it was like, oh, they want to talk. And so we need to listen. So I hope you'll have the conversation with your students. Once you leave here, talk about technology with them, find out how it's impacting them, and then have a talk about, hey, what can we do as a family to navigate this playground? So thank you.